Nithyanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Pavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Samarambham Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां ललाटे त्रिपुण्ड्रीनितिलकृतकस्तूरी तिलकः स्फुरन्मालाधारस्फुरितगडिगोपीनवसनः दधानो दुष्टारं चिरसि फणिराजं शशिकलां प्रदीपः सर्वेषां मरुणगिरियोगी विजयते. Nityanandam, with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, we welcome you to the Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Devalaya here in Adi Kailasa Nithyananda Peetam. Swamiji, driven by a vision years ago by Paramashiva to establish his eastern headquarters under a banyan tree, Swamiji sought out and found the banyan tree that you're witnessing here today. The banyan tree is a connection to Swamiji's previous janmas, where he himself has planted the tree and he himself has had samadhi under the tree. Samadhi is a place where the final resting place of a person or an enlightened person's body. The Mahasamadhi is it's a very ancient time when very ancient science where the body of an enlightened master is which is having a concentrated amount of cosmic energy, of pure life positive energy, and when it is encapsulated inside or enshrined inside a temple, it becomes a energy center for many people to come and experience that same space of being around that same enlightened person. Even though consciousness may have left, it still remains, the body still remains in that space and radiates. So under this very banyan tree, we have the samadhi. And it is here from that body that it has grown into a huge banyan tree. Banyan tree is a tree that has branches growing away from the main root, and from the main root, from the branches themselves, again extending below to have more roots. This banyan tree is described in Shastras again and again as the Kalparuksha, or the tree of life. And it gives whatever you ask. The Kalpavriksha is a tree that gives everything that you ask to it. So, the banyan tree that we see here in Bidadi is not a simple tree envisioned by the vision given by Paramashiva had given Swamiji the understanding that this is not just a tree, but it is Paramashiva himself, and it is a very portal to the higher possibilities and dimensions of the cosmos. The tree, it goes all the way up to Kailasa and brings the energies and literally the cold winds and the cold air from there. You can experience sometimes miraculously here in Adi Kailasa that the banyan tree's presence is an attracting magnet, just like how a mountain would attract clouds towards it for rains to happen or protects the clouds from moving. The same way, the banyan tree has an effect to bring nature, to bring clouds, to bring rain, and it has the very place is having such an ecosystem. Apart from that, the banyan tree is underneath the banyan tree, or underneath the canopy of the banyan tree, there is the deity of Dakshinamurti, Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva, who came in the form of a young man, a 16-year-old man, sitting in enlightened silence, and around him, the older men whose doubts and distresses are there in their heart. Just by witnessing and being in the presence of such a man, of the enlightened Paramashiva himself, the doubts and the distress of the elderly are simply removed. We sing this in the verse of Chittam Vadataror Mule Vriddha Sishya Guru Riva Gurorstu Maunam Vyakyanam Sishyastu Chinna Samshaya. You can understand from this verse that in this the silence of the banyan tree, in the silence of that presence of the Dakshinamurti, the doubts and the sufferings of all of us are dispelled. And this is the miracle that everybody experiences under the banyan tree here in Adi Kailasa. No matter who you are, no matter from what walk of life you are, the tree has a profound impact in your inner space. No matter if you're carrying a lot of suffering or you just want to have a good time, whatever space you come under the tree in, it simply fulfills your space. It simply gives you what you ask, that deep fulfillment and the contentment which we ask. It is under this very Dakshinamurti that Swamiji had given us under this Dakshinamurti, Swamiji had placed the Prana Pratishtha, as done the solidifying of the mercury, a process that requires a tremendous amount of energy, and a process in which a tremendous amount of cosmic energy can be consecrated. Hence, it forms like a garbha. Swamiji describes creating a deity and telling what a deity is compared to how a woman would go through labor and go through the process of her pregnancy. It's in the same kind of way of creating life, creating that spark, creating energy, creating something from almost nothing. That amount of energy and effort, that it is what it takes to create another deity. In a cosmological sense, Swamiji is creating deities like this, and Dakshinamurti was one of the first ones he created and placed under the banyan tree, under whom there is a powerful garbha, a powerful energy center. And the deity itself is energized and is a beautiful, magnificent deity of a young Paramashiva who sits and radiates such silence and enlightenment. Anybody who sits under the tree and witnesses the darshan of Dakshinamurti will be able to know the space of Dakshinamurti. That is the power of the deity and the power of the space of the Kalpataru of Paramashiva here. And any problem, any ailment you have, Swamiji is beautifully opening up the opportunity for anybody around the world to have the darshan of the deities through the live Kailasa TV, the live video feed of the Banyan Tree and Dakshinamurti. It is through those all channels also you can have and you can offer your prayers there. Especially in the times of COVID, in the recent times, where tremendous devastation has caused the governments to lock down all the temples where people have carried their sacred sentiments for years on. Suddenly, there's a stoppage to the spiritual fervor that's everywhere. And people really need to tap in or tune in to some religious activity, especially here in the Banyan, in all of the deities in our temple. All of them are live, all of them are available for everyone on Kailasa.tv for all of you to love, offer your prayers through, and connect with. And then in the Garbhalaya of the temple, there is a Balalaya. The Swayambhu Nithyananda was kept by Swamiji. Swayambhu is a material that is given by Prakriti, nature or existence itself, for all of us to worship. Through it, we connect with cosmic energy. Normally, the process, as we just described, of prana pratishtha is done as an intense process by an enlightened being. But their bodies also, as we just learned, is also a capsule of it. Just like the body of Venkateshwara Swami in Tirumala Tirupati, the body itself became the deity. It's not a stone, but it's the very person. In the same way, the body of Ramanuja in Srirangam, and the body of Devi Meenakshi is there in the Garbha Mandir of the Meenakshi Amman temple. In the same way, the body of Swamiji's previous life, as Swamiji, made itself have samadhi, and the Prakriti, the nature itself, created a stone to be worshipped. Swamiji recognized the energy, the consecration that is there given by nature itself in the stone, took out the stone and placed it in a Balalaya. This is known as Swayambhu Nithyanandeshwara. Swayambhu meaning self-manifested, self-effulgent, self-emergent. It is there, and it is the very body of our beloved Swamiji. Offering puja to it and seeing his darshan is seeing the darshan of Swamiji himself, of seeing the darshan of Paramashiva himself. 7 times a day, 7 Kala puja happened to this Nithyanandeshwara Linga. And then above the deity, we have a beautiful deity of Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva, Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti, in the beautiful setting and an intimate setting of how Paramashiva taught to Devi Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti the Agamas in the Tantra. She is literally sitting on his lap, and he, in an intimate way, is holding her and teaching her the science of enlightenment itself. In this same setting only, it is envisioned by Swamiji, and it is remembered by Swamiji that this actually happened under this very banyan tree. As this banyan tree is on the southern side of Kailasa, this banyan tree is there mentioned in Kamika Agama as Kailaksha Dakshine Shringe Nanaschari Sammanimite. Under the banyan tree on the southern side of Kailasa, Paramashiva resides along with Devi and teaches the Kamika Agamas. We here celebrate them in the form of a beautiful and magnificent deity of Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Sameta Shri Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva. They are in constant yoga, in oneness, and they are the first guru and the disciple. Just like the invocation verses that we have chanted, Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Samarambham, Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti Madhyama, Asmadacharya Pariyantam, Bande Guru Paramparam, or Guru Parampara. The lineage of Guru and disciple begins with the primordial Shiva, Paramashiva, who taught the first knowledge to his first disciple, Devi Parashakti, from whom all the other acharyas and teachers and great enlightened beings learnt. It is through her compassion and through her love that Mother Devi Parashakti herself listened and asked Paramashiva the fundamental questions about the universe. The same way, the fundamental questions are even being asked now, especially in the times when COVID is rampant. We are surrounded by death, and the fundamental questions of our life are suddenly, we have to face them. We have to face the basic questions about even our purpose, because even that becomes uncertain in these times. When people are looking inside themselves and living inside their homes and looking into themselves and trying to find answers to these fundamental questions, Paramashiva here in Adi Kailasa, and Swamiji himself, by giving us this temple, by his grace and blessings, is teaching us there is possibility, there is magnificent possibility to have the answers for these questions. With this, I wanted to share one of the deepest ways of how to connect with the deities and understand all of this in temple science. Swamiji teaches us in the Living Enlightenment about innocence. Constantly, we are asked to be good, to be pure, and to be innocent. The idea of innocent is forced upon us. Constantly, we are taught by society, by moralists, that something is right, something is wrong, something is pure and something is impure, something is good and something is bad, something is innocent and something is corrupted. Constantly, we are taught of the idea of good and bad. We are forced to practice that good is what society thinks is good. But life has no way related to what society believes in. Life is totally different. What society believes is different from what life is. There is a beautiful saying, when you think in a generalized way, but when you live, you can't generalize. This is like what they say in marketing. Think globally, but act locally. Situations can't be generalized in life. In your life, there are so many things where generalizations is not possible at all. Or you can't decide what to do and what not to do based on popular guidelines. All your ideas about morality and the right and wrong might not have any relevance practically. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, why do our ancient Hindu scriptures not speak about gambling? Of the epics speak about only the epics speak about gambling. I tell them that it is at that time there was no gambling. Then how do you expect them to speak about gambling? Naturally, no Hindu scripture bans gambling or drugs because at that time these problems did not exist. When it comes to morality, it depends completely on the situation. Morality is relative, not existential. Innocence means the purity of the inner space, not being affected by the thoughts of engraved memories. Let you be clear, even if you are not expressing your emotions like anger, greed, or lust, if they are present in your inner space, you are not as yet a total or innocent person. Socially, you may be pure, that's all. On the other hand, if you express your anger, lust, or greed, but nothing touches your inner space, you live like an innocent child. Then, be very clear, you are a pure being. In this beautiful chapter, innocence, regained, opens many doors of life. It's something that many of us can learn when approaching the deities or approaching the Hindu science here in temple. The eyes with which a child will see the world are very different from the eyes that a person sees the world. A person who has lived some years has experience that filters. They see the world through filters of their judgments, expectations, and understandings they have come to. The conclusions they come to filter out the world from their life. It's like the Instagram filter that makes the world a different color than it actually is. But when you remove these filters, you see the world as it is. You see it and grasp it as it is, the same way as an innocent child does. There are beautiful ways that nature itself brings us to such stillness, to bring us back to having those eyes. When we see a sunset or when we see a large mountain, by seeing something that's larger than life in front of us, living and breathing, we also remember we are living and breathing, and every moment is fresh, every moment is beautiful. That stillness that is brought to us is the experience that we get when we see the darshan of the deities as well. When we see the deities in our hearts, in our eyes, and with our third eye is immediately awakened, and the images are immediately placed in our being. So when we approach the darshan of Nithyananda Paramashiva today, let us prepare ourselves to get ready for his darshan in this today's Rudrabhishekam. It is a ritual process for which and where which we can cognize many things and also cognize the simplest things, the fundamental, most fundamental things. First, let us understand the context of this ritual before we begin. But first, I would like all of us to come together and make a declaration before the ritual is done, as a declaration of our understanding and context. Our words matter. The words we tell ourselves matter, because those form our beliefs that we have inside. So when we are clear about our beliefs, the response from the cosmos will also be very clear to us. So let us make the first declaration, that is, that you believe cosmic energy exists, that there is something in you, around you, above you, called consciousness, and exists. It is real, and it is not dull, dead matter, but it is cosmic energy. It is intelligence, cosmic intelligence, that you experience when you really are in that way we just learned, innocent. By declaring this statement, we are declaring that we want to be in that innocence, and in that same way receive the darshan. So let us make the first declaration. Please say yes after this statement. I authentically cognize, which is internally process, understand, and declare the truth that cosmic energy exists. Yes. The next statement is about the deities themselves, because the deities are a representation and embodiment of that very cosmic energy. So we are going to understand that they are not just metal or stone, but they are more than that. In the same way we cognize that cosmic energy exists inside us and around us, we must cognize now that they are there in the form of a deity. They are there before us. and they are responding to us. They are intelligent. So let us make the second declaration. I authentically cognize, which is internally process, understand, and declare the truth that Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva, Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti are the Chinmaya Vigrahas, the embodiment and representation of that very cosmic energy. Yes. The third declaration is for the ritual. The process that Paramashiva himself gives in the Agamas is known as Kriya Pada, where he gives us rites and rituals to perform to live an enlightened life. We understand that it is not just a mere action that is what is given to the deity and what it responds to. It responds not to the question of the devotee, but the questioner itself. The same way Swamiji responds to us. He answers our fulfillment. He guides us to how we will be fulfilled in life. In that same way, Swamiji is building the Kailasa as an ark for everyone to join and come and sail through the pralaya waters. While the whole world is in a delusion, in devastation, we can sail through the waters safely with Swamiji by our side, with Swamiji as our captain. In the same way, the rituals are there as a guidance for us to be able to have our intentions given to the deities. It is only what is the intention that the deity says tathastu, or so be it for. The blessing of the deity is tathastu, meaning so be it. So whatever intentions we carry is what is truly going to manifest in our lives. So when we worship the deity, we understand, then cognize that we are not worshipping the deity, we are worshipping the idol or the stone, we are worshipping Paramashiva. And through this deity, whatever we offer will be received to Paramashiva, and he will respond. We recognize that in the third declaration. So let us make the third declaration. I authentically cognize, which is internally process, understand, and declare the truth that whatever I offer in the Rudrabhishekam to Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva, Nithyanandeshwari Parashakti, will reach the cosmic source of energy directly. Yes. The final declaration that we make is the ultimate declaration declared by the Vedas and the Upanishads of Sohamasmi. That means that even when I worship, I am not inferior to the cosmic energy. I am nothing less. I am in oneness with it. What it is what I am. The Mahanyasa Purvaka Rudrabhisheka, a longer procedure of Rudrabhishekam that is done traditionally once or twice a year here in the temple, declares Mama Sankalpam Shiva Sankalpamastu, means our intention is the intention of the cosmos. When we make the decision that we are not below and underneath the deity, we are in the same innocence as the first declaration, declaring the ultimate truth, not an egoist standpoint, but in an innocent, humbling standpoint. The one we sing in our Sadguru Vandanam, Tattvamasya Lakshyam, where we declare Swamiji as the one who is in the state of Tattvamasi, meaning you are that art Tao. You are the cosmos, you are everything. You are that Tattvamasi. We declare that he is in that state, but not just being in that state. He is the goal for us to come to that space. He is the goal for us to raise ourselves to come to that space. So we say, Tattvamastya Dilaksham. In the fourth declaration, we declare the highest truth of Sohamasmi, that even when I worship, I am him. With this final context, let us make the fourth declaration. I authentically cognize, which is internally process, understand, and declare the truth of Sohamasmi, that even when I worship, I am him. Yes. With this powerful declarations that we just made, affirming positively and integratively and authentically, let us get ourselves ready to receive the darshan of Nithyanandeshwara. Please sit straight, the head, neck and spine in a straight line. Inhale and exhale as deeply as possible, as slowly as possible. Take a deep breath and chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
विश्वसृष्टिविधायिनं पुनरेव पालनतत्परं संहरन्तमपि प्रपञ्चमशेषलोकनिवासिनं क्रीडयन्तमहर्निशं गणनाथयूथसमन्वितं क्रीडयन्तमहर्निशं गणनाथयूथसमन्वितं सर्वपापविनाशनं नित्यानन्दम् ईश्वरं सर्वपापविनाशनम् कुण्डलीकृतकुण्डले
केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिम् द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशम् स्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलम् सर्वधी साक्षिभूतम् भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। नित्यानन्देश्वर परमशिवसमारम्भा नित्यानन्देश्वरी पराशक्ति मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ललाटे त्रिपुण्ड्रे निट्लकृतकस्तूरीतिलकः स्फुरन्मालाधारस्फुरितकटिकौपी नवसनः दधानो दुस्तारम् शिरसि फनिराजम् शशिकलाम् प्रदीपः सर्वेषाम् अरुणगिरियोगी ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुतते नमः यात इषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवा शरव्या यातवतया नो रुद्रमृडया याते रुद्रशिवा तनोरघोरा पापकाशिनी दयानस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाकशीः गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्षस्तवे शिवां गिरित्रतां कुरु माहि गुंसि पुरुषं जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छा वदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असते अद्य वोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषके अहीगिश्च सर्वा आञ्जम्भयन् सर्वा आश्च यातु धान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः ये चेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षु श्रिता सहस्रशो वैशागुं हेड ईमहे असौ व्योपसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुतहार्यः उतैनं विश्वा भूतानि स दृष्टो मृडयातिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानोऽहं तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोरार्तियोर्ज्याम् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवोपप अवदत्यधनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षसते शुधे निशीर्य शल्यानामुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव तिज्यं धनुक्कपर्तिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुमुत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः याते हेतिर्मीढुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुज नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधायानातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुतते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निधेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय नित्यानन्दाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशां च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्लुषाय विव्याधिनेन्नानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृतायौषधीनां पतये नमो नम उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः ॐ दशाङ्गं गुग्गुलोपेतं सुगन्धं सुमनोहरम् आघ्र्य सर्वदेवानां धूपोऽयं प्रतिगृह्यताम् धूपमाघ्रापयामि ॐ आज्यं त्रिवर्तिसंयुक्तं वह्निना योजितं मया ग्रहाणमङ्गलं दीपं त्रैलोक्यतिमिरापहं दीपं दर्शयामि ॐ अमृते अमृतोद्भवे अमृतवर्षिणी अमृतं श्रावय श्रावय स्वाहा तं महानैवेद्यं निवेदयामि नैवेद्यान्तरमाचमनं समर्पयामि ॐ तन्महेशाय विद्महे वाग्विशुद्धाय धीमहि तन्नः शिवः प्रचोदयात् मङ्गलनीराजनं सन्दर्शयामि रक्षां धारयामि
महाक्षरं भुजङ्गविभूषणं शैलराजसुतापरिष्कृतचारुवामकलेबरं श्वेलनीलगलं परश्वधधारिणं मृगधारिणं श्वेलनीलगलं परश्वधधारिणं मृगधारिणं नित्यानन्दम् आश्रये मम किं करिष्यति वै
तन्महेशाय विद्महे वाग्विशुद्धाय धीमहि
करिष्यति वैर्यमो नित्यानन्दम् ईश्वरम् सर्वपापविनाशनम् नित्यानन्दम् ईश्वरम् सर्वपापविनाशनम्
महेशाय विद्महे वाग्विशुद्धाय धीमहि शिव प्रचोदयात् मङ्गलनीराजनं सन्दर्शयामि रक्षान् धारयामि अमृताध्वरे अमृतर्षिणे अमृतं श्रावण स्वाहा अमृतं नैवेद्यं निवेदयामि नैवेद्यान्तरमासमनं समर्पयामि ॐ नदत्रतोर्णचन्द्रतारकं नेमा विद्युतो भातिगतमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति मङ्गलनीराजनं सन्दर्शयामि रक्षान् धारयामि देवदेवोत्तम देवता सार्वभौम अखिलांड कोटि ब्रह्मांड नायक श्री नित्यानंदेश्वरी पराशक्ति समेत श्री नित्यानंदेश्वर परमशिव आशीर्वाद प्रिय आशीर्वाद अवधारजा ओम स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कालो वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः इति स्वस्ति मन्त्रार्थः सत्यात् सबला भवन्तु इति भवन्तो महान्तो न गृह्णन्तु तथास्तु दुर्जनसज्जनो भूयात् सज्जनः शान्तिमाप्नुयात् शान्तो मुच्येत वन्देभ्यः मुक्तश्चान्यान् विमोचयात् इति भवन्तो महान्तो न गृह्णन्तु तथास्तु पुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधुनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शतम् इति भवन्तो महान्तो न गृह्णन्तु तथास्तु राजाधर्मपतिः प्रजा सुचरिताः पूजाधना सज्जनाः षट्कर्म प्रजाद्विजाः प्रतिदिनं विद्या गुणवद्या सदा दाने सन्निहिता चिरं गतमहुराः सानन्दमव्याकुलाः सर्वे सन्तु वैदिकधर्म अनुष्ठातारः सौजन्यसन्तोषिणः इति स्वस्तिमन्त्रार्थः सत्याः सबला भवन्तु इति भवन्तो महान्तो न गृह्णन्तु तथास्तु येषां देवदेवानां महादेवानाम् अखिलाण्डकोटिब्रह्माण्डनायकानां सकलभाषष्टिस्थितिसम्भारधिरोभाव अनुग्रहेश्वरी पराशक्ति समेत श्री नित्यानन्देश्वर परमशिवस्वरूपाणां श्री आदिगुरुगणगिरियोगेश्वर स्वरूपाणां श्री कालभैरव महाकाली स्वरूपाणां श्री कालास्वामिभद्रामशान्तश्यामलापीठारोह श्री मीनाक्षी सुन्दरेश्वराभिन्न स्वरूप परशिवपुत्र रत्नकुमार गुरुमन्यतुल्यावतार श्री पार्वती स्तन्यपान लब्ध दिव्य ज्ञान विस्तृत सकल निगमागमसारभूत द्राविड वेद प्रवक्त्र श्रीमत् परमशिव करुणा समधिगत मुक्तामय चतुरश्रया नगीयमान छत्रतामर श्री चन्नकाहलादि समस्त बिरलामलंकृत ज्ञान विज्ञान चक्रवर्ती सर्वजन संघ निर्माण दीक्षा विजयपवर्ष विश्राण जानोत परमत कल्प केसरी शैव सिद्धांत स्थापनाचार्य श्री राजाधिराज पांड्य महाराज शबलाख्यादि महान दगान निवारण ज्ञान भानु वीक्षण पूर्वक श्रीमद ऋषभध्वज स्थापक सर्व समय कर्ता सर्वज्ञ स्वामिनां अवतारभूत श्री ज्ञानसंबंध स्वामी पुनरुद्धृत श्यामलापीठ सर्वज्ञपीठ प्रणवद्युत्तर दशरथनानां सर्वज्ञपीठ कैलासपरम्परागत काञ्ची कैलास सर्वज्ञपीठ त्रयस्त्रिंशदुत्तरद्विशततमवर्षः सन्निधानानां नित्योत्सव नित्यमंगल नित्य कल्याण नित्य रजित कैलास परंपरागत आदि कैलास नित्यानंद पीठ महासंस्थान महासिंहासन पीठ कर्तॄणां साक्षात् श्री परमहंसोद्भूत కైలాసపరంపరాగత యోగస్వతమైన విఖ్యాత శ్రీరామచంద్ర షోడసేన ఇత్య జనవచ్ఛిన్న సార్వభౌమ చక్రవర్తి పరంపరాగత చతుషష్ఠి యోగిని మండిత చతుషష్ఠి సంప్రదాయ ప్రవర్తక మనుధర్మ శాసన సూర్యవంశ ప్రాప్త సర్వజ్ఞపీఠ సురాంగి సామ్రాజ్య మూర్ధాభిషిక్త చూడామణీనా సాక్షాత్ శ్రీ పరమశివ సముద్భూత కమలమహా పునరుద్ధృత మహానిర్వాణి పీఠ అష్టోత్తర సహస్ర శ్రీ మహామండలేశ్వరాణం సాక్షాత్ శ్రీ పరమశివోద్భూత శ్రీ మహాగణపతి సమారంభ అనవచ్ఛిన్న పీఠాభాష ప్రాప్త అటల పీఠ అష్టోత్తర సహస్రతమ అష్టోత్తర సహస్ర శ్రీ అటల పీఠాధీశ్వర ధర్మముక్తేశ్వర స్వర్ణపీఠ త్రయోవింశ గురు మహాసన్నిధానాం కైలాస పరంపరాగత అధికారాస నిత్యానంద పీఠ మహాసంస్థాన మహాసింహాసన పీఠకర్తॄణాం పునరుద్ధారకానాం శ్రీకైలాసపరమాచార్యాణాం శ్రీమత్పరమహంసానాం వైవ్రాజికాచార్యవర్యాణాం సచ్చిదానంద ప్రణవస్వరూపాణాం శ్రోత్రబ్రహ్మనిష్టానాం శ్రీమజ్జగద్గురాణాం శ్రీ భగవత్ శ్రీ నిత్యానంద పరమశివ శ్రీ జ్ఞాన సంబంధదేశిక పరమాచార్య స్వామినాం పాదారవిందయోః భక్తి సిద్ధి సమేషాం సహకుటుంబానాం సకల ఐశ్వర్య ప్రాప్తి గురుకృపా కటాక్ష సిద్ధి క్షేమ స్థైర్య వీర్య విజయ ఆయు సిద్ధి ఆచంద్రార్క వంశాభివృద్ధి ధర్మార్థ కామమోక్ష చతుర్విధ ఫల పురుషార్థ సిద్ధి సర్వేషాం మనసా చింతిత సత్కార్యానుకూల సిద్ధి భగవత్ శ్రీ నిత్యానంద పరమశివ ప్రసాదేన సకుటుంబస్య జ్ఞాన వైరాగ్య జీవన్ముక్తి ప్రాప్తిశ్చ భూయాత్ इति भवन्तो महान्तो न गृह्णन्तो तथास्तु सर्वे जनाः सुखिनः सन्तो तथास्तु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु तथास्तु समस्त सन्मङ्गलानि सन्तो तथास्तु सर्वत्र नित्यानन्दध्वजारोहणं भवतु तथास्तु सर्वेषां श्रीलश्री भगवत् श्री नित्यानन्द परमशिव श्री ज्ञानसम्बन्धदेशिक परमाचार्यस्वामिनां परिपूर्णकृपाकटाक्षसिद्धिः अस्तु तथास्तु अयं धर्मः उत्तरोत्तरम् अभिवृद्धिरस्तु तथास्तु सर्वं भगवत् श्री नित्यानन्द परमशिवपादुकार्पणमस्तु ॐ नित्यानन्दम् मङ्गलं कल्पवृक्षाय मङ्गलं ज्ञानदायिने सदाशिवाय श्रीनित्यानन्देश्वराय मङ्गलं मङ्गलं श्रीविद्याम्बायै मङ्गलं कामदायिन्यै सर्वमङ्गलदात्री नित्यानन्देश्वर्यै मङ्गलं मङ्गलं गुरुदेवाय मोक्षमूलाय मङ्गलं परावतार नित्यानन्दाय गुरवे मङ्गलम् ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति शांति शांतिः हरिः ओम तत्सत् सर्वं भगवत् श्री नित्यानंद परमशिव पादुकार्पणमस्तु ओम नित्यानन्दम्।